Oh man. Okay, let's go here first. See how this is doing. So this tool here is actually quite helpful because there are some criteria when I was looking at the insider buying to that I want to have clarified. And the trending one isn't specific enough for me. This is ARTX. What AXLA? Hmm. What is this? All right. Well, this is, I mean, $19 million buy is not a small buy. Morning, Zaki. How are you? What's up, Sabavoon? Yeah, you and Saki both at 4 in the morning though. That's pretty common. Oh man, these allergies. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Russia, China, and Iran are targeting the U.S. elections. So China's attacking Biden. Iran is attacking Trump, and Russia is just screwing with all the political campaigns and parties. Very interesting. Why isn't it priced in yet? Smash ice. football, football is back. Um, so his breakdown of ACRX is that if all the news on Dasubia, the DoD, and Zimmer Biomet is public, why it isn't priced in yet? Really, Sabavoon? Well, okay. I mean, what have you jumped into? What are you looking at? How do you trade? Are you trading options? Are you trading equity? Um, Yeah, so the problem with that is it's a really narrow understanding of how biopharmaceuticals work, right? Um, so the news on Vesuvia is that it has FDA approval, but it's an opioid. So that puts it in a different subclass where people are super hesitant about adopting new opioids. The Department of Defense finalizes its contract in October. Um, so we won't see the actual pump on that until October because people want to actually see the money in hand. Zimmer Biomet, we've only been with them for a quarter. We haven't even seen any sales numbers yet from them. So Tesla in 15-minute windows, equity or options? You're buying calls or puts, or are you just buying stock? Equity. Okay. Um. So every time you buy and sell Tesla, though, you become taxable on the gains, don't you? Most people I know that play uh, anything of that size lock it and leave it in equity. Yeah, but I want everybody to make gains. Okay, if you don't know about taxes, you should really look into that because what you're doing of that in and out and in and out and in and out, every time you enter and then exit, when you exit, that becomes taxable gains, whatever gains you made on it. Okay, so if you want to have some passive income, you should probably look at a dividend portfolio. And if you don't know what that is, it's a quick Google search for sure. But a dividend portfolio is probably going to be a lot more conducive to what you're trying to do while you're studying for your PhD. Um, yeah, it would be greater advantage for you to just buy Tesla with whatever capital you would. I mean, again, disclaimer. This is my opinion. If I were in your shoes, um, you're headed for a doctorate. Um, I'm going to assume that you already have a pretty sizable taxable income as is. So, um, for you to add that in by constantly buying and selling, you're kind of defeating what you're trying to accomplish by. Oh, why did I put IMO? Maybe not defeating the purpose of it. Tesla does move sizably, but yeah. What do I think of NKLA? Okay, that's fine. We'll do this. So I did a complete breakdown of NKLA with Martini when before it IPO'd or SPAC'd. So my issues with NKLA are many. Okay, so currently the hydrogen fuel trucks that are here, the one, the two, the tray, the refuse, and the badger. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the model. First of all, this is the only one that you can currently get. This truck here, it's an electric truck. It's not even a hydrogen fuel cell truck like they want people to use. All of their trucks currently are being produced in Germany. Yes, they've got this deal with GM, but that deal with GM isn't a deal yet. Even though they've announced it publicly, I believe that GM's going to have a deeper look at what it is they just associated themselves with. But they make a lot of bold claims and assertions that I don't think that they back up very well. Um, really, I guess the best way I can show people my argument with Nikola is okay. So here are Tesla charging stations. Okay. Okay. Tesla charging stations. Okay. Uh, and that's great. Sab, if you're making money, you're making money on it, man. I just wanted to let you know that uh, entering and exiting like that, those gains constantly become more and more taxable. So I would definitely take a look at a high yield dividend portfolio if you're gonna try to get hands off of it for 5 years and you're looking to build just a residual income. Um, yeah. Okay, so hydrogen fuel stations. Okay, this is if you buy one of the Tesla trucks that does the same thing as Nikola. In the States, I'm a Canadian trader, so our capital gains work a little bit differently than your guys, but it is a caution depending on which tax bracket you're in. The more frequently that you're entering and exiting positions, the more likelihood that's going to factor into your capital gains when you file your taxes at year end. Um, so just being aware of your tax situation as you're trading is important. Um, yeah, so this is if you buy one of the Tesla trucks, these are the charging stations that you can zoom in and charge on, right? Yeah, I read the start of the Hindenburg report. This is beyond all of that. Forget the fraudulent numbers. Forget all of that other stuff. Whether or not they can build the truck, whether or not the truck can actually operate, does it actually meet the outlines it has? Forget all of that. Let's assume they can do all of that. Okay, everything that they've put out is legitimate. They can build the truck. The truck works. Let's assume, for the purpose of their argument, that that's true. Okay. So I am a truck owner. I have a massive fleet. I am looking to. I am looking to break down my fleet and to purchase new eco-friendly e-trucks or whatever. Right. I'm in between Ottawa and Montreal. But yeah, I'm looking to buy new trucks. So I go, well, I know what's important to me is we truck from Florida to California. So Florida to California, I need to be able to plot a route. Bam, send my trucks across. Can they charge up? So I pop on over to Tesla and I go, okay, well, charging up, being able to charge these things up is important. I can't have my guys stranded. Where can I charge up from Florida to California? Well, you could charge up from multiple places, right? Okay, I then call up my guy over at Nikola and say, okay, I just need to see where I can charge up from Florida to California. Oh, you can't. The only place that you can really fill up right now is in California, and only southern or northern. You can't really. This is nutty, guys. These are retail stations that are available for hydrogen fuel cell technology. Does this look like Nikola is a competitor for Tesla? Not in my books. There's no infrastructure. Most of these trucking companies run out of the Midwest, right? So you have people coming through Chicago, you've got people coming through the Midwest to pick up food products, and then they bring them out to the rest of the country to the edges. Now you can totally do that. There's all kinds of people that are doing conversions on diesel and gas tanks. That's there. Um, the bigger thing is that they're not looking to do that. So there's another company out there called Shell, which is hell no. I can't see Tesla letting anybody charge on his stations other than a Tesla. That's crazy. Yeah, they custom fit the engines, but it's totally possible. I think that's what Shell does. At least for the trucks, not for personal vehicles, but Shell is doing exactly that. No, because Tesla's an electric charging system. It doesn't charge fuel cells. Fuel cells are compressed hydrogen, right? That's how tech works. Is you're using a hydrogen as a liquid cooled component. As is my understanding. Now, if you zoom out, and you look over at well, let me pull up Europe. Not at all, man. I hope that helps. Um, okay, it's not as bad actually. This is a little bit better. These are the hydrogen fuel stations. So there's a few more listed here that weren't listed on the other one. The problem is still this whole southern channel. This whole Midwest is essentially empty, and this is where you need to be able to charge up. But the thing is, this is a market that's a little bit of a different story, right? For me, if I were him, I would not have tried to tackle the US first. I would have conquered Europe and Asia and then brought it over here. Because there's no infrastructure built for this system. It's just not going to work out well. So GM's support of Nikola for me is, I mean, we'll say it's tentative at best at this point. We'll see what happens here, but well, I mean, Microsoft just detects them from the OS. But yeah, it's definitely a little weird. This TikTok cutoff is looming. That as of next Tuesday. DPHC. Um, I think riots are going to continue right up to the election, through the election for sure. There are some adapters. I'm not sure that those are going to be around forever, though. Here's all of the stipulations. It will not work with this. It will not work with that. It will not work with this. Yeah, it says that those adapters are unreliable at best, but yeah, that's my biggest argument when it comes to Nikola is just looking at that map and saying there's no There's no infrastructure in place. No problemo. Yes. Battery day will reveal all. And it's Friday. EVFM. This is the birth control one, right? Oh, I very much doubt you're going to see universal technology. I think Battery Day is going to be more about proprietary knowledge than universal knowledge. Equity offering on the 3rd of June. They haven't had any news lately. My portfolio, guys. Is that it, or is it this one? Yeah. That link right there, guys, will take you to my portfolio holdings. At least my equity portfolio holdings. So here are my holdings, guys. And you'll see that 60% of my portfolio is in healthcare. Oh, yeah. That should pop up in the chat for you to be able to click. No problem. So, guys, with this, when you come in, I only started using this tool in May. When you enter all of your information, though, it doesn't allow you to enter your information, your buys and your sells with specific buy points or sell points. And I think that's there as a transparency, legitimacy thing. But I entered all the positions I had taken up until this point, and that caused it to look like it was at a loss, even though my current portfolio I've grown from about $3,000 at the start of the year. We are up over 30 grand right now. So I've actually seen 10x growth over the year, but this is not indicative of that. The majority of that growth happened January through May. And so this doesn't reflect that. And then these months here, you'll see that there are months where there are good gains. This was heading into earnings season. And again, I'm going to see another month like this coming up. So for now, as long as I'm not losing and I see another month like this where I had a 9% gain, I stand to make significantly more into December. But the majority of the plays, guys, as you go through the portfolio that I'm currently managing, ACRX is a Q4 play for me. ETM is a Q4 play. Side-Eye is a Q4 play. DGLY is a hold for as long as it takes for it to pop. Same thing with Westport, it's a hold. BlackBerry is a hold forever for me. This is going to become a staple of my portfolio. iPix is a Q4 and beyond play. MBRX is a long hold. ALNA is a Q4 play. MFA is a hold forever. Waiters Q4. So I have a lot of Q4 plays coming down the pipeline. Why BlackBerry? Okay. So BlackBerry is a what company? If you had to say they are a this company, what's their product? What do they sell? No, has nothing to do because it's Canadian. It's everything to do with their product. So phones. So phones is a very common answer to that question. The reality is this: BlackBerry does not make phones. Now, there is a new phone coming out, but they aren't even making that themselves. They've licensed that to a company in the States that wants to make phones under the BlackBerry label. So they're not even making those phones. That's another company down in Texas that's going to be making those phones. What they do right now, and they pulled back from the BlackBerry platform almost as a whole. What they are looking to do is actually create software and support systems for automated driving, AI driving. And so right now, BlackBerry is actually in hundreds of millions of vehicles. Anything that's got parking assist, drive assist, some form of AI in regards to how your vehicle is driving, BlackBerry's technology is in there. They also have massive deals with companies like Amazon, Bell Canada. So like they're making a lot of headway. I have them as a long hold, like into my retirement. I could see them being back up around that $100 mark. AI and self-driving cars is just going to be too big of a market to ignore. And if they are first on the ground and software proprietary in that technology, it's going to make a huge difference. Waiter did have a wild day yesterday. It was undervalued. That's way oversold. You see Waiter down at $3. That's way oversold. This company is easily an $8 stock in my mind. So they're still in the dump because they're still digging out of that all of that overhead from their phone days. So it'll take time. It's a hold for a long time play for sure. There's a slight delay, yeah. Inside OBS, I can see the Twitch chat, but to read the Restream chat, it's actually a different tool that I use. Um, so yeah, it just takes a slight delay as far as communication goes. Yeah, yeah, they're positioned really well for the next 5-10 years. Oh, excuse me. Tesla and Apple. Okay, guys, my water is empty. I need to go fill it up. I need to take my allergy meds here before I start to light up like a Christmas tree. So, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna give a shout out to Restream here. I'm gonna go do that. Phew! Oh man! And I will be right back, guys. Yeah, I'm up at 4:30. I'm up a little bit before 4:30, but I am up early. All right. We are taking a look at Apple and Tesla. All right. Let's take a look at Tesla first. Tesla, anything under 800 is a nice price for Tesla, in my opinion. And again, it comes down to infrastructure. Elon owns the infrastructure, whether it's this or Starlink or boring tunnels or whatever. He owns the infrastructure. He is the system. He is the playground that all must play in and around. So with Tesla, I know right now people are losing their minds about, oh, it's up, it's down, it's all over the place. Like, mm, this is an undervalued stock right now. No, I mean they will go back up to 800. Tesla is one of those ones that you can hold forever. You can hold it for the next 30 years. It'll still be around. It's crazy. He has created the largest energy grid. They will be different companies. It's not going to be under the Tesla infrastructure. However, you'll have to note that when SpaceX does well, the Tesla stock does well, right? Even though SpaceX is a separate entity from Tesla, every time SpaceX does well, Tesla does well. I imagine Starlink will be something similar. That if Starlink does well, Tesla will also do well. So yeah, they own the infrastructure. They with Starlink coming, with Neuralink, with self-driving vehicles, with their energy infrastructure. They have it knocked down. Right, which for me is the backbone of it, right? So with Tesla can be closely compared to a biostock that's a COVIDiot right now, right? So you have a biostock like mRNA that has run significantly on its COVID production. Well, my question is, what do they have outside of COVID, right? They're overvalued. mRNA is overvalued massively as a bio company. And their COVID drug is not enough to carry that weight. So what else do they have in their pipeline? They don't. So I think Moderna is due for a massive fall, whereas you look like somebody like AstraZeneca, who's working on the COVID vaccine as well. Their stock has gone up significantly as a result of that. But you look at their pipeline, they also have 12 other drugs coming down the pipeline. Excuse me. So people will come around from that realization that, oh, Tesla isn't just a car company; they're a power company. They're a satellite company. They're a surgery company. They're an everything company. That takes time though. The market will come around to that concept. But yeah, 800. We're talking 5-10 years, but 800. Now Apple. Apple's one I need to check my bias at the door because I'm not a fan of their products. But I have to recognize that many are. Um, yeah, I agree. They are all different endeavors, but all of them give positive press. And whenever we get positive news on any of those endeavors, there should be a ticker called Musk. It is. It's called his Twitter profile. It goes up and down every day. All right. Fortnite will no longer be available as of September 11th. Uh Near term, it's not doing anything based on FA. Um, Battery days coming up. I don't think it drops below 300. No, I think it's more likely to go to 450 than it is to drop to 300. All right, so I want to see what's new and upcoming here. So iPhone 11, they're talking about Apple event on 9/15. Yeah, I see that. iPhone 11, the Watch Series 5, and the new iPad. Oh, it's not popping up on Twitter. Interesting. Hmm. I will have to make a point to go back in. It is great to see you, Linda. Yeah, I think the Apple Arcade and the Apple TV are nothing. But this stuff here is something. I would say, I mean, if you're looking at 6 to 18 months, I don't know that 200 is unreasonable for Apple. We're looking at 5 to 10 years, 350, 300. Yeah. My problem with them is it's just more of the same, right? I haven't seen Apple truly innovate in a long time. If Goldman gave them a low rating, that's because Goldman wants a position in them. They want to try to lower the price to get a better a better buy price. But that when you see Goldman Sachs undervalue a company like that, it is directly them trying to acquire a larger position on it. Pre-election, no. Q1 2021, yeah. Oh, the link in the YouTube description might be wrong. Uh, Hold on here. Let me. Yeah, weird. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Yeah, DocuSign. I think companies like PayPal are just making a heck of a run on it. Where PayPal's just providing safety around. When do I expect another market correction or crash? The election is going to be a major indicator for me. Let me take a look at the supply. Yeah, the Twitch link, I'll type it in chat here as well. I have fixed the YouTube video, but that should take you to me. Yeah, it does. Okay. Cool. After the election, I think will be the biggest one. So in my mind, what we see happening is here's the previous election. Okay. 2016, 2017. And then before that, 2010, 2011, 2011, 2012. So you'll see here that Obama won again, and we actually had the market decline on his win, which is something that I'm really concerned about as we head into the election. So as we have this happen, this is Trump's year. This is when Trump wins. So this is hype up, hype up to the election. Trump wins, and then we do this, and then COVID. My concern is we see more of a consolidation like this, like we did under Obama, where it comes down if a Democrat wins. So for if Biden wins the election in November, I'm expecting to see the market pull back. Um, how much? It's tough to say. I wouldn't. I don't know that that 250 mark is unreasonable. If Biden wins, if Trump wins, for me, sky's the limit. It could keep going. We could see 350. We could see 400. So it's you want to crash? I lean more to the other side as a long equity player, but yeah, so there are a couple of sectors that will do well under a Democrat win. So the cannabis industry will do well, the green energy will do well, anybody tied to government contracts will do well. Your play style just has to change quite a bit when you're moving from a Republican president like Trump into yeah, when you're moving from a Republican government like Trump into a Democratic one. Yeah, I know that Biden assures people that fundamentally nothing will change, but just because he says that doesn't mean that that isn't going to happen. Fundamentally, everything changes if he steps into office. So, yeah, I mean, to each their own, man. To each their own. I'm a Canadian. I don't have a horse in the race. I don't get to vote one way or the other. Fiscally, financially, I'd prefer to have Trump in office out of the two of them, at least for the market and for my portfolio. So I'd be okay if Trump stuck around for another 4 years. Um, Speaking of Trump, TikTok will not get an extension. They will either sell themselves or they will disappear from the US. UK and Japan signed first post Brexit trade deal. That's a big deal. So yeah, because the UK is preparing to leave the EU, they no longer fall under all of the trade agreements that the EU has with these neighboring economies, and so this is a huge deal. That's a big, big, big deal. That's a foot in the door to Asia. That's really good for the UK. Yeah, Kamala Harris is not. He may be trying to uh, put the market at ease by having Kamala Harris be a part of his party or his cabinet. She's not really a reassurance though. Uh, the market on the announcement of Kamala Harris coming through was not a reassurance of anything. When you see a government's platform being tax and spend, that rarely goes well for those that are investing, those that are owning companies, those that are looking at companies. Especially when the platform is we're coming after the rich. Okay, well, that's pretty fast and loose on the term rich. What do you mean rich? $1 million? Like net worth? Like what are we talking? Talking about directly taxing traders and talking about um, yeah. I'm just talking about market sentiment. What they actually do or don't do doesn't change how the market reacts to them winning or looking like they're going to win. Yeah, I mean, if you had had if you'd had two white dudes up there again, it wouldn't have gone well. His hands were kind of tied. It had to be a woman or it had to be a person of color. He didn't have a choice. AOC, I think it was too soon for. Um, yeah, and we do check the polls almost daily at this point. Um, so this is currently the shakedown. This is how they have it: 75-25. Karen Bass was a woman of color. Okay, well there you go. But he had to pick one of them. He had to have a person of color or a woman. I so these numbers are actually better than what Trump had under the past election. So Trump, Clinton. Yeah. So they had it split 71-28 for Clinton. Oh no, this one's better. So this is just one of the indicators that we use though. So these are all of these projections that are done by these polls are very left leaning. But we do have to take that into note. So under consideration is that, but also what we take a look at are the Vegas odds on the president. Because this is people actually placing bets, right? So as of today, they've got Biden at negative 115, Trump by, so it's not even like this is such a small split here between them. With the polls was Project 538. Um, well, what they saw in the last election was there was actually a much larger voting base in the Latino and the Black communities for Trump than they'd expected, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Yep, that's true. The Electoral College is built to provide uh, population across the U.S. representation instead of whoever has the biggest state gets to choose the president, which is, I think, a really good policy. One of the issues that we have here in Canada is Toronto, Montreal essentially decide the election. Whoever wins Toronto, Montreal wins, and for me, that's a big problem because that's two cities in Eastern Ontario. It's not reflective of the entire country's desires or thought process. I would much prefer a system like the Electoral College up here. It's not, but it's just the way that the election was set up. It was set up to just be by sheer numbers. No, my issue with that, and especially in Canada, is so the people in the East are the people that play politics and the people that play in modern industry, but it doesn't account for any of our agriculture, any of our industrial labor. Toronto is an urban center. Montreal is an urban center. People are drawn into these urban centers, and they are completely unaware of the rest of the country's needs as far as industry, infrastructure, uh, anything that is oil, anything that's agriculture. All of that stuff falls to the sideline for the sake of what cities want. And cities want faster Wi-Fi, but they don't realize that we have places that don't have clean drinking water in Canada. We have places that don't have roads that work well. We have an entire oil industry that's reeling at the moment, and we're talking about green energy when oil is like 80% of our market. So I believe every person should have a vote for sure. But a system like the Electoral College gives those places that would otherwise be unheard. Um, yeah, so if we were to just say, okay, well, Montreal and Toronto, because they've got the most people, they get to decide for the whole country. Well, what inclination then is there for those places that don't get a say? They're just told essentially your vote is baseless and pointless. What's their reasoning to stick around? Like why should they stay if they don't have a voice? And especially out west in Canada, the big problem is a lot of our money flows out of the west. It flows out of mining, lumber, and oil, and that's all from the western provinces. That has nothing to do with Toronto or Montreal. And so what you are left with is the people that are making the money for the country, seeing all of the spending of the money being done by those that don't make the money. And so for them, it's like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we. Right, but the voice isn't heard. So if there's just because of sheer population size, Toronto and Montreal is the election. And so for the past 20 years, the Western provinces have been crying foul as funding is funneled into Toronto and Montreal. Meanwhile, the western side of Canada, which is sizable, we're talking it would be from Ohio to Washington State. That's what we're talking about in Canada, is essentially being ignored. What they want, what their needs are, what their wants are. Those are completely secondary. They don't matter unless Toronto and Montreal agree. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, no, I would rather see a system that is more like the Electoral College, where Eastern Canada would have a say, um, as little of a voice as the West has. The people on the East Coast. What's up, Drew? Um, yeah, the people on the East Coast have even less of a say because they have such a small population. PEI is a province, but it's just one single island. Been doing well, man. Been doing well. Market is up. It's running solid. Uh, Giving them equal representation in a. I mean, we don't have a presidential election, but in our election, in our federal election, giving them equal representation would be good. You address that with policies that address the problem. Yeah, the issue though is if you're voted in by Toronto and Montreal, you're not going to craft policies that aren't to Toronto and Montreal's favor, because you have to keep Toronto and Montreal happy to get reelected. And so what happens is they lean further and further into supporting Toronto and Montreal, which gives them more and more Toronto and Montreal votes, which gives less and less understanding and appreciation for those suffering outside of those two major cities. Yeah, I think you and I are just gonna disagree as far as this goes. I appreciate everybody having one vote, but um, I wouldn't say that half of a country should be ignored for the sake of two cities. That doesn't. The U.S. is a much different environment. So the U.S. as a whole, you're looking at 300 million plus people in the U.S., right? Whereas in Canada, what you're looking at is 30 million people across our entire country. And if you have 6 million of them in Toronto and 3 million of them in Montreal, that's a third of the population in two cities. Uh, yeah. Um, so like for me, that's a serious skew, and it leaves the rest of the country to suffer as a result. Um, yeah. But yeah, Drew, been good, man. Working hard, trading the market, up a solid chunk on the year. Yeah, those policies have to be created by a government that desires to make those policies, and the government has no desire to make those policies. Policies that would reward Western provinces or Eastern provinces don't win them votes, and so they don't do them. You are up early, sir. You still on the East Coast, Drew? Up late. Okay, that sounds more like it. I mean, I hope things are going well for you, man. Time to start protesting. Yeah, that's kind of one of the big differences between the U.S. and Canada is that we don't protest. What we do is, especially the Western provinces, they just work harder. Oh, ouch. Any sign of potential work? Yeah, yeah, and it's also a much larger population, right? So it's a larger population spread over a larger geographic area. So it's a bit of a different beast. But again, like Hawaii, Alaska, um, what's the point of them voicing an opinion at all? If in reality, they're not a state that you have to focus because we're doing it by sheer population. If it was one vote to one vote, then essentially New York and California would decide every election. I never mind talking politics. I mean it's part of what I do. It's part of what I trade is that cultural psychology on what is the U.S. as a whole looking at? What are they saying and what are they thinking? Because that does affect the market. It does affect what you're trading on a day to day basis. So I never mind hearing other opinions, but I also like to compare actual election data. Um, Yeah, like it for me, it's not a big deal. As long as people can be grown ass adults, that's fine. You're more than welcome to come in here and talk politics. You can talk whatever you want here, as long as it's done respectfully. Yeah, but I mean, that's what we were talking about before. Politicians make big claims. Um, all politicians get up there when it's time to get elected and make big promises. Um, yeah, it would have been a different election for sure. I don't know who would have won between Bernie and Trump. It would have been a different election though, for sure. Yeah, and there is no perfect system politically. There just isn't a perfect system because you look at something like, honestly, I think the biggest problem with the U.S. system is that it's restricted to a two party system. I think essentially what you would need to do is dissolve the two party system and allow for as many people to run as would see fit. Um, Having that two party system is what's caused, I think, more of the issues around this. You look at so Canada, we have some would argue a 5-6 party system. I would say it's a 4 party system. The UK has hundreds of different political parties that run every uh, every election federally. So I mean, like there's all kinds of different options. All I know is that a system of democracy is better than no system of democracy. Yeah, Drew, that's exactly what I'm getting at. People are less inclined to actually read what either party is doing. And I mean, that was one of my favorite Jimmy Kimmel sketches where he sent people into the streets with Trump's platform from the previous election and said, what do you think about this? Would you vote for a guy that likes this and this and this and this? And they went, oh yeah, we love that guy. And he went, great. Just so you know, you just voted for Trump. And they were like, oh crap. And so it was interesting to see that when you remove the faces of the parties and you just present the platforms, people actually lean different ways. I would say similar, not the same. I think if you look at I'm sure there was another video that went the other way. I'm sure, Drew, but that's exactly like that. Just proves the point, right? Of if there was one that did it the other way, if you present Clinton's to Republicans and they would like it, it's the same problem. We're touching on the same thing, that concept that when you take the face off. Oh, Reagan. um, that's true. Yeah, I would say their economic policy is the biggest one. When you take a look at the two bills, and we've seen it in the We've seen it in the stimulus packages they look to create. You look at the priorities that come out in those bills. So I read each of these bills, guys. We're talking 1,800 pages of legalese. That was one of the things that I did as soon as they dropped, so other people didn't have to. I read all of those bills in their entirety. It's very, very clear that the Democrats are big on tax and spend. They make claims that they're supporting low-income families, they're supporting single women, they're supporting women in the workplace. That doesn't show up in any of their fiscal policy. What does show up in their fiscal policy is raises for people that are in office. So whether you're a senator, whether you're municipal, whether you're state, federal, they want to give people that work as politicians more money. They want to give institutions like the USPS more money. They want to give pot a lot more money. They want to give green energy a lot more money. So there's that. But their last major bill that the Democrats put out, they gave 10 times as much money to the pot industry as they did to single women and underprivileged families and children. So that's the Democrat side. On the Republican side, their skinny bill, they just don't want to give money to anybody. They don't want anybody to have money anymore. They literally just want to put enough cash into the system to make sure things don't fall apart and let the system fend for itself. So there are two very different economic policies. One is that you need to micromanage the entire economy, every dollar spent. You are the government, and thus you must control. Well, not even themselves. So in their bills, there was no raises. The people that actually provided the most money for raises for politicians was the Democrats, not the Republicans. The Republican bill was super skinny, super skinny. It was largely healthcare, education, infrastructure. There might have been military in it at the end. That wasn't in their bill. What I'm talking about is just comparing the two stimulus bills that were presented. So the $3 trillion stimulus bill, it didn't have anything in it that was, yeah, yeah. Speechify for fast reading purposes. I read pretty quick, man. The skinny bill was a joke. The skinny bill wasn't intended to go through. Um, I think the skinny bill was just offered up as a lamb to the sacrifice. 600 words a minute. Yeah. I don't know that I could listen that fast, man. Yeah, and I mean, therein is the elephant in the room that people feel that under Biden this is going to stop, and in my mind, I don't see that being the case. I think the 4 years of moaning and complaining from one side against Trump is going to result in some lingering hostility and animosity if Biden wins, and it's not going to stop. It's going to escalate. So it doesn't matter who you put in office. This isn't going to stop. And again, it comes back to the two-party system. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter who you put in office. The rioting and the protesting is going to continue. It'll be interesting come election day. It really will, because it doesn't look like the USPS is going to get the money that they need in order to do mail-in ballots effectively. And if they can't do that, then mail-in ballots become what? If they can't count them all, we're not going to wait around 6 months for a determination as to who's president. We'll see something similar to what happened when George W. Bush was given the election by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's just going to say, give it to this guy. Well, he signs his name on the piece of paper, that's for sure. And he's just built a team that does the job. There was another tool that we found the other day. I should have saved it. Yeah, so the three factors that I look at are polls, Vegas gambling, and also did we go to no, not that. We go to Google Trends. And head into this. This is very interesting as well. And to see what the biggest issues are. All right, guys. I will be back. I'm gonna take that washroom break real quick here. But I'll be back. Like 30 seconds, all right? Later, Droog, man. Get some sleep. All right. Let's get back down to it. Huge shout out to Restream again, guys. We're actually only able to have this. This is Google Trends, yeah. But yeah, guys, Restream makes this possible where I can actually be having conversations with people on YouTube and Twitch and LinkedIn, whoever else pops in, all at the same time. So this is kind of cool. I love this tool. If you guys are not using a specific tool, you're looking to stream, I highly recommend you check them out, guys. Yeah, with audio, I find if I've got audio on the side, I kind of just miss a lot of it. Whereas if I read it, I can scan this pretty quick and pick out the stuff that, like, it just pops as I scan it. And that's from years and years and years of reading like 60,000 social media posts a week. So it's just like, okay, as I scan, it's like, okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Oh, this is one that I'm interested in. Yeah, I remember when this was at $5. Dave and Buster's. It's a cool tool, though, man. I'll give you that. If you are an auditory learner and you're able to just listen and absorb, like power to you. I think that's a great tool. Genprex. This is one we have not played with in a while. GNPX. I think that GNPX has a lot of opportunity down the road with their drug. I just currently am locked into my positions, so this is not a priority for me anymore. Yeah, as a visual learner, I retain information differently. If I had to listen to 300, 400 papers or scan them, I would get more out of scanning them than listening. Which is kind of the cool part with learning is different people, different ways to hack the brain. SPY futures are at 337. In March, received a fast track designation for their lead drug candidate. Yeah, in March it was because they received a fast track designation. And then there's the COVID drop. And it's been sideways since. They have a cancer pipeline and a diabetes pipeline. And the diabetes is extremely early. We're talking pre-stage 1 trials. That's like a 5-year play, and I think there's more biodegradation to happen on it. I think it falls back down to $2 a dollar before I get serious about getting in. Not a problem, man. So this HC Wainwright one is an investment one. They're just going to show their pitch deck again. Morning, GXO. This one's interesting to me. This Cantor Fitzgerald thing. Doesn't really say what the presentation is, though. It's a fireside chat, so this is another sales meeting. These are 2 sales meetings. It'd be great if they had some news to drop with that, but not seeing it. This is a blast from the past for me. I couldn't tell you, man. In regards to day trading, Sabavoon, I am not a day trader. That portfolio that I showed you, I trade 6 to 18 months. So most of those positions I did lock in a couple months back. Yeah, most of the stuff that I trade is 6 to 18 months. I don't know about the daily. I don't trade the daily. A lot of the guys that are in that community stock guys community are options traders. It's a whole different beast. I wouldn't recommend that you hands off trade that on day trades. Um, you kind of want to be really hands on if you're gonna trade options like they're trading options. I'm a big fan of buy and hold. So I think the best thing that you could do would be to wake up in the morning and do similarly to the morning call is great, but it would be great to pick a sector, focus on your sector, read the news, whatever pops on. Yeah, so I mean, check out other day traders would be a big one too. I know YouTube has a ton of day traders that do day trading on equity. It's so outside my wheelhouse that I just wouldn't have anything to give you really. My plays play on a much longer time scale, so yeah, those are 2 different markets. The Middle Eastern market and the American market are 2 different things. You get some assurances with the American market. Um, but yeah, if day trades are your thing, definitely check it out. Check out day traders, people that are successful day traders, and don't just take people that are playing videos. If they won't show you your portfolio, Move on. There's lots of successful guys on YouTube and Twitch that'll show you their portfolio to prove it. And that's a good call, man. Learn, grow, change, evolve. Love it. $75,000 shares at $2 a piece. See you around, man. Are they both for 75,000? Invis. Go, go. Morning hair. This has had quite the run. $1.83 to $10. Later. Go, go. So this is going to take off when people get back on airlines. What is THM? It says September 2nd on this one. Oh, why would somebody drop a couple $1,000,000 on this? Yeah. Yeah. Trade Journal. How's it going, Adorable? Yeah, I'm an audio tactile. So listening is probably my, or not audio. I was gonna say listening is my least favorite way of learning. Visual tactile. So I can see things and absorb them quickly, but also having that tactile helps me to remember things. You are Korean. How are things in Korea? We had that happen here the other day where they shut off our water and we didn't get a notification or anything, so we went to use the water and it's like, no, that ain't gonna be happening. SPY pre-market is 336. It's looking like. Yeah. Boil off. Boil off. Potable water. It's not so bad. Salt and heat. That's all you need, buddy. What are you guys watching this morning? What do you trade, Adorable? Phosphate companies. China is the number one when it comes to phosphate production. Then Morocco, then the US. Morocco Mining Company stock. Hey, little dude. Look, who's that? Look. JJ. There's JJ. Hi, JJ. Say hi. Hi. That's right. No, 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 no. You don't eat that. Bye, little dude. Fang 3x leverage, huh? So my issue with 3x leverage is that these things naturally decline and it's going to blow up. Not a fan of ETNs. That's a Fingu D. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 3x leverage. Because you have to assume that at all-time highs, this is as high as this thing's going to run, and this is a volatility indicator, right? So it's how the Fang performs by volatility, by volume. I don't think that we're going to see unprecedented growth like this again. So for me, that's the peak, that's the top, and this just declines from there. So if you're taking puts against this, maybe that's a play, but for me, not a huge fan. Yeah, Morocco kicks the crap out of the U.S. Oh, day trading it. Okay, I mean, yeah, if you're grabbing scalps on it, but I would still see more movement to the downside than potential to the upside, I think. That's my current portfolio that I'm holding. The portfolio was built for Q4, so the majority of the stuff that you see in there is built to take off in Q4. That link will take you here. These are my current holdings. All right, guys, the news is not flooding into the feed. It is 6:30. I think I am going to call it today. It's Friday though, guys, so take it easy out there, relax. It doesn't look like we're going to get any bombshells today. There's no massive financial data dropping, so just take it easy out there. Enjoy the market, enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend. I will catch you Monday morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, take it easy.